Alright, we just saw the Elite Eight. Let's get into the Final Four predictions. Let's reflect on the Elite Eight, but also let's focus on some of the matchups that also could happen, and let's look at just some of the greatest upsets that we've seen in the past how many years. First of all, we have to acknowledge that the Croatians, for being underrated, they were able to pull it off with Petrovic in the 118th minute of extra time. Like, you can't say anything. Like, that was just, you can't stop them. They drew through 4 of their matches. Only regulation win was against Canada, was really well given, especially after Canada started off hot. They settled that down. But the Brazilians, with their tally in the last of the first half of extra time, Neymar got his, and it almost it was such a good match. You almost didn't want it to end. It could you almost think that the penalties could have went on forever. Croatian's the goaltender. You gotta give it to him. Let's also look the Argentina game in the Netherlands. With Weghorst and his 2 goals within the last literally 11th hour minutes, 83rd and 90th minute. Come on, you can't write this. Messi got his. You had the Molina in the 35th there, the one that started it off. And again, it goes to penalties. 2 teams that, unfortunately, even with the red card, now they got a red card. The Netherlands, they just couldn't do it, even with a more majority of the passing and a majority of the possession. They just couldn't do it in penalty shootouts. They have a hard time getting over that hump. It's hard to see a nation not able to do that because they've been at it for years. That crew's been there together, but Argentina. They want to win. They want that after the Copa America. They want that win. They want that Messi that everyone's expecting the nation. Let's look at the first of all. Let's look at the France and England game. That was just one of the best. Mbappe with his goals or whatever. I can't say much because Harry Kane had 2 chances, and the second time it just, you never think that would ever happen to Harry, but it just, in a sense, I feel bad for England. They haven't been able to pull it off since 1966, the last time they won. The Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup the year later in '67. What do you want me to say? It's so hard to see a nation not able to get over the hump to finally get that second star above their crest. Now the French are moving on, and they're in the semifinals, and they have a possible chance of earning a third star above their team. You can't for the French Football Federation. I have to give it to the defending champions. You never expect the defending champions to have a chance to. You can only expect Brazil to really do it. Brazil or Germany or someone like that. You don't expect. France just wasn't expected to do it. And they didn't get that credit that they truly deserve, and everyone should really apologize to them. But let's look at the final match. Probably the greatest underdog you'll ever. The first African country, the second Arab country next to Turkey in 2002. If you want to consider Bulgaria in '94, and as well as Hungary, because they have also Arab nation communities inside their cult and in their country, but they're not it's not really a majority of the culture. Like when you look at say Turkey, which is considered a European nation, but then you got or the African nation Morocco, and it's mostly Arab. It's I'm pretty sure they're the majority. If I'm correct, it's 68% to about like 79% Arab, and well, it's just in Qatar. You couldn't ask for a better way to have a semifinal, to have one of the greatest underdogs, not only to make it there on, of course, their last regulation win was against Canada before their regulation before this one against Portugal, and Portugal with all the might that they had, they just couldn't get it done. They were doing, unfortunately, Morocco got a red card, which sets up a bad matchup against the French. Which, if you know the record, the French have a 5-4 and two. Some sources have 5-4 and 2 because they end in ties, but a lot of the time they actually versed in like some like big matches, like cups or whatever that ended in penalty kicks, and they don't have. And I don't, if whatever source you look at, but from the majority of the sources, the French have a 7-3-1 record with 21 goals and 11 against Morocco. And being a man down, that's just not a statistic you look at and you say, Morocco is just, it hurts because they had injuries, they had their core players get exhausted and go down, and you don't know if that's going to cause hamstring or possible lingering injuries, or even anything, something to the ligaments. I feel so bad because in the red, like I said, the red card's gonna it's gonna cause them, but a lot of grief. But if they could pull this to a penalty shootout, yeah, anything's possible. Anything. And I'm not gonna. And everyone's been counting them out, including the penalty kicks. Morocco are 8-1 if you include the penalty goals. They're 5-1, of course, but just undefeated. So good to see. French with 11-5, and honestly, let's be honest. Tunisia, they did technically win, but that almost ended in a draw. So French could be undefeated too. I still consider that undefeated. I don't, but Tunisia, without a doubt, they deserve that credit, and they beat them. So unfortunately, the French aren't undefeated, but there was a possible chance that they could have had that. Croatia, still undefeated, but if you think about it, it's 1-4-0, and that's 4 draws. So, what are you expecting them to do with Argentina? Probably draw. Croatia's record versus Argentina, a 2-1-2 record. Croatia owned the majority of goals. Of course, 7-4. Last time they seen each other was in 2018. The group stage is a rematch of the last of 2018, and Croatia defeated Argentina 3-0. Just what do you want? Like, what else can you say? Morocco, they weren't able to do much last World Cup, and they didn't make it out of the group stage, and now they're in the semifinals. Unfortunately, it's with bad circumstances, but and bad is just putting it lightly, because it's just that it was just hard because they were doing so well, and they almost had the second one too. Yeah, I'm still it was such an exhilarating match. So if we look at some of the matchups that could happen, if Argentina face France, Argentina. That would be the 13th matchup, of course, versus the two clubs' fourth World Cup match. Of course, in 1930 and 78, Argentina claimed victories. But in 2018, France did claim the victory. So it'll be their fourth World Cup match, but also they, I'm pretty sure they were in a Euro match, or not a Euro, another World Cup qualification match against each other. They had one in the early years, 60s or whatever. But yeah, that's a rivalry that 6-3. That's another one. Like Argentina, they always have the mighty against all the teams. They've had a majority of the wins, and they had that one loss against Saudi Arabia, and they've been able to pull it off ever since. And it's just like, well, okay, France is the defending champions. Argentina won that third one. France won that third star above their crest. And they're willing to do whatever it takes, and they're both scoring teams. So that's a one possible matchup. The other possible matchup is Croatia versus France, which is not a very good record because French have a 6-3-1 record against the Croatians. It will be their 11th, and unfortunately, the last matchup was the actual final in the World Cup where Croatia lost. They lost on it because they had an own goal by the same person that scored one of their two, and that's just despite the Nations League wins this year, Croatia winning on 2-1 in aggregate. France has won in 98, 2004 Euro they draw, and then the finals. France lifts the trophy for the second time. Croatia are just runners up, and that's just. But then now you'll start looking at Morocco versus Argentina or Croatia. They have 3 losses against Argentina, so it'll be their 4th match. Only 1 goal to Argentina's 5, and then if they versus Croatia, they had 2 draws, both scoring 1 goal apiece each time. Or wait, no, they scored 2 goals, and then one game was 0-0. So 2 draws, and it'll be their 3rd match against Croatia if Morocco moves on. So really, that's just when you look at the wide scale, what match do you see actually happening? And I don't know, I haven't been right the whole time, but I'm pretty sure France, they have a great chance. But do you really want to count Morocco out like that just because they're a man down? Like, just like you have to give that. At this point, you have to give everybody that respect. So, with that said, let's look at and like it's just I wanted everybody to really just soak that in. Some of the greatest upsets we've seen recently. One that I remember that stuck in my brain, of course, was the 7-1 victory that Germany had over Brazil in the 2014 World Cup. Senegal over France in 2002, Cameroon over Argentina in 1990, North Korea over Italy in 66, and then, of course, you had Switzerland over Spain 2010, which, of course, Spain won the rest. Pretty much won the rest. Rest the way through and got their first star. But this year, we just seen so many. So many. You had Morocco beating Spain in penalty shootouts. You had Morocco winning against Portugal. You had Australia beating Denmark. You had Japan beating Spain and Germany 2-1. You had Cameroon beating Brazil. And South South Korea beating Portugal, and of course the infamous Saudi Arabia and Argentina game where Saudi finally, you know, there was just so many upsets. Like this is the year of the upsets, and it's just so good. Like this World Cup, despite with from all the unfortunate news about the U.S. reporter Grant Wall, uh, I feel bad, really do, because I heard there was a reporter that was taken also into custody for wearing a rainbow T-shirt. I thought it was the same person. It wasn't, so I feel bad about the getting the mix up. So I really do hope that everything gets done for uh, him to be brought back to his family, because that was just unfortunate of him going down when he was during the Argentina Netherlands game. So rest in peace, and hope he does well, or hope his family. Well, my condolences to the family, and hope they get all the everything goes smoothly for him to be brought back safely. Uh, with that said, that's how I'll end this off, and appreciate you guys' time. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys probably for the third place in World Cup day before. Probably get to you guys the 16th. All right, love you.